Hello everybody, this is Mr. Abdulwahab Jamal. Welcome to a new English session. This is Checkpoint Primary, Cambridge Primary. This is Unit 4, Lesson number 10. Spelling, Punctuation, and Grammar. In today's session, students, boys and girls, we are going to identify and understand prefixes and suffixes. And we are going to follow and apply spelling rules when using suffixes like able and ible, able and able. We are going to recognize different punctuation marks such as ellipses, apostrophes, and italics in texts. And we are going to understand key writing techniques used in authors or by authors like narrative, voices, and tenses. So hello everybody. Welcome again to a new English session. This is Mr. Abdulwahab Jamal, saluting all of you. Today's session 4.10, Unit 4, Lesson 10, Spelling, Punctuation, and Grammar. This is Cambridge Checkpoint Primary. We are going to identify and understand prefixes and suffixes. We are going to follow and apply spelling rules when using suffixes like able and able. Recognize different punctuation marks such as ellipses, apostrophes, and in the end, we are going to understand key writing techniques used by authors like narrative, voice, and tenses. This is something not new for you, okay? But consider it like revision, if you wish to say. We are going to apply these techniques, let's say, on the text which we studied before. And let's get started. Now, some suffixes which we know. Suffix is a letter or group of letters which comes after the root word in order to give a new function. So when you will say suffixes, okay, so you are talking about those letters after the root word, like ed, ed, for example, for the past tense, ing for the verb or present participle. We have the es and s, that's for the present tense. We have the ly, for example, for making the adverb. We have the ance for making the noun, ence for making the noun, able for making the adjective, eble for making the adjective, and so on. Let's move further. Find evidence to complete the following paragraph about the story which we read. I think Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is a classic science fiction text because some examples are in addition and finally. We are talking about this text, if you remember, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. That one. I think Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is a classic science fiction text because it talks about time travel or space travel. It has advanced technology at that time, like the electronic book. Besides, we have the idea of Earth destruction. In addition, we have alien species, okay? And in the end, It is a futuristic idea or aspect. Now, explain why the author uses ellipsis in shades your eyes, he said, and turned it, which means the light, on. Now, all the time remember, in order to use the ellipsis, you are trying to create a dramatic pause. You are trying to create suspense. You are trying to cut continuous talk, ideas, series of action. So here, the idea of using the ellipsis, as we said, is to create a dramatic pause or to show a pause in sequence or ideas. The ellipsis suggests that something is left unsaid, creating a pause or making suspense. It invites the reader to imagine the missing information or the action been said or happened. Look at him. He is putting his head, a hand on his head, while Ford is trying to turn on the light. Shade your eyes, he said, and turned the light on. Now, we have here B. There are 5 examples of italics in the extract session 4.9. Explain the purpose of using each. Italic is to type, okay, on this, like that thing here, in this shape. That's the italic. That's number 1. Here we use it to make a background about the story. And here, safe. When he said, we are safe, he said, and then he comment on the word safe. Ah, Arthur said. This is obviously some strange usage of the word safe. So which safe you are talking about? The earth is destructed, and yet you are saying that we are safe. It's like commenting or making fun out of this word. Then we have another italic, which is here. What do you want me to think of? Okay? His head out and said, his fellows hopped right in. I can take you as far as Brain or Basingstoke roundabout. He's making fun. He is ironic. He's sarcastic. Okay, it's like picking a taxi or take a lift from planet to another planet. Excuse me, said Arthur. Are you trying to tell me that we just stuck out our thumbs and some green bug-eyed monster stuck his head out and said, come in, right in? So he's making fun, or he is being sarcastic, if you wish to say. And then we have another one here. The Hitchhiker Guides to the Galaxy. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. We are trying to stress or to show the title, the name of the book. And here, don't panic. He said, I like the cover. He said, don't panic. So he is trying to what? To emphasize or to stress or to highlight that this is the title of the book. And it is something different of what? Of the narrative. I'm trying to make this thing different from those or these, if you understand. So, to wrap up, 5 usage. One of them, the purpose of using italic to show emphasis or to stress on something important, to create background of the story, to highlight the title of the book, The Hitchhiker's Guide of the Galaxy, to represent a quote from the book, It means direct speech. To indicate a voice or a tone that sounds sarcastic or surprising. To separate the name of an entry in the electronic book. Italic is to highlight, to stress, to show the importance of something. Ellipsis is to create suspense, to build tension, or to make a dramatic pause, or to make a cut, to show a stop or a pause in continuous ideas or thoughts. Now another question here, we have the prefix, okay, the prefix. Add the prefix sub to each of these and tell me what is the prefix sub means. Sub, it means under. Sub, it means under or below. If we have submarine, it means a boat that goes under the water. Substandard, it means below the normal standard or below the acceptable case or status. Subconscious, it means beneath the level of conscious thought. If you want to add the word sub, for example, to the word ether, so you have sub-ether, which means beneath the ether. Usually in science fiction, we use such terms to say, for example, that we are in the gas area or in the atmosphere of the other planet. A term used in science fiction to describe the invisible force of space. Sub-ether. And then I have some words like conscious, marine, standard, set, plot, total. Explain the meaning of sub-ether, we said it, and find examples, sorry, of two different uses for the apostrophe. Yeah. Subconscious, submarine, we said it, substandard, we said it, subset, we said it, subplot, we said it, and subtotal. Okay, everything is under or below. Find and explain two different uses of the apostrophe. Apostrophe is that little comma, sorry to say it, but it is where over the line, not under the line, not on the line. So using the apostrophe consists of two things. Number one, contraction, which means to make the form shorter, and number two, the possession. Okay, possessive or possession, it is to show ownership. So the first one, instead of saying we are, you will say we are. Instead of saying I am, you will say I'm. And using the contraction, we'll make two words into one. So that's one word. And possessive, it is to show ownership or belonging. So instead of saying the statue of Ford, you will say Ford's statue. You will put apostrophe S after the noun. Now be careful. If the noun has already S, please don't put apostrophe S, just apostrophe. If the noun is a plural and it has S, just put apostrophe after the S, not apostrophe S. Be careful to that one. Then we have F. What is the reason for the short paragraph in extract? Any short paragraph can create suspense. Any short paragraph can emphasize the idea. Any short paragraph is to stress or to separate idea from another idea. Because the idea of the purpose of a paragraph is a group of sentences which discuss or talk about one idea only. So short paragraphs create sense of urgency and movement. And this technique or this short paragraph keeps the reader's attention focused, and it will make the pace uh, fast, if you wish to say. It is fast-paced dialogue and action. It will make the dialogue faster, and the speed of the story or the events becomes faster. It also helps to separate different moments of a change in the scene, as we said, because each paragraph has one event, one topic. So when you have more than one paragraph, it means you have more than one event or more than one topic. And you are putting them in order, you are separating them from each other to make the reader interested in reading more and more. Use examples from the narrative and dialogue to answer these questions. What narrative person is used? What are the main tenses used? And who would you describe the writing style as, formal or informal? That's a very easy question because this is narrative, this is fiction, this is science fiction. The story is told in third person using he, she, it, they. The narrator is outside the action. He is describing what the main characters do and think of. Now be careful. The narrative person is something different from the point of view character. Point of view voice, it means first person, second person, or third person. I, you, he or she or it. While when we are asking about the point of view character, we are asking about a person, the main character in the story, in which we can see the whole story through his eyes. So here it was told from third person. And the main tense, of course, when you have narrative, you have to use the past tense. Narrative considers to be in past tense, while inside the quotation, inside the direct speech, you are using the present tense. Present tense or dialogue uses the present tense. Inside the quotation, it is a present. Outside the quotation, it is past. And the writing style is informal, of course, because it is usual, catchy, casual dialogue. It is conversational and friendly or a chatty tone. That's fiction. Fiction is informal. In case you want to replace single adjective with this phrase, what can you say? What can you do? So instead of saying in a still quite measured voice, you can replace it with the word calm. Still quite measured, it's calm voice. So sometimes you have to use one word to indicate a phrase. Instead of saying, for example, he was shouting loudly and ragely, for example, which means in a rage way. He's angry. You can say he was screaming. End of the story. He was yelling. He was crying out, and so on. Now, if you will go to something related now to the spelling rules. Tip said with most words with ABLE considered to be French origin, while most words with IBLE considered to be Latin root. So French root words, they have ABLE. Latin root words, they have IBLE. Now, in my opinion as a teacher, we are not very keen to understand or to know or to memorize which words are Latin, which words are French origin. But we can memorize the spelling, how they are written. So it is something related to practice. Okay? They are spelled differently. Sometimes using ABLE, sometimes or other times using IBLE. But they sound similar. Able. Bearable. Bearable, of course, it is bearable with A. Terrible or terrible, of course, it is with I. Terrible. Bearable is correct with A. Terrible is correct with I. Available, horrible, available, that one is correct with A. Horrible, that one is correct with I. That's the French root, that's the Latin root. And if you remove the suffix from the most able words, you are left with the root word like acceptable, accept. Visible, it is vis. So can you take this able or IBLE and put it with other words? Like reason, reasonable, ABLE. Acceptable, accept, ABLE. Inflatable, inflat, ABLE. Believable, believe, ABLE. Forgettable, forget, ABLE. Regrettable, regret, ABLE. Justifiable, justifiable, justify, ABLE. Reliable, rely, ABLE. Changeable, ABLE, change. Noticeable, notice, ABLE. Manageable, manage, ABLE. Traceable, trace, ABLE. Knowledgeable, knowledge, ABLE. Pronounceable, pronounce, ABLE. Now, do we have any spelling rules? Rules are simple. When you are adding suffix to the root word, you have to drop the final E in case you have the IEBLE. Okay? So in these cases, believe, you will remain believable. Okay? Accept, acceptable. Drop the E, please, in some cases. Okay? Drop the last E. And if you have 3 letters or 4 letters and you have a vowel in the middle, A, U, I, O, and U, you have to double the consonant, like run, runner, or running, or runnable. And when you have Y, please change it into I, like happy, happily. Instead of the Y, I will use I. Now, what about the ER and the OR? ER and OR. Now, both of them are suffixes. They are added to the nouns in order to make an agent to the noun. Agent to the noun. And they have the same pronunciation, by the way, but different spelling. So the word actor, it is with O-R, not with E-R. Actor. Singer, it is with E-R, not with O-R. The one which is more common, of course, it's the E-R. It is more common than the O-R. And I have lots of examples. Write, writer. Construct, constructor. So the suffix is added to a verb. It will make an agent to the noun. An agent noun, OR or ER. Direct, director. Teacher, teacher. Work, worker. Okay? That's very important. Some vocabulary to understand or to remember what are they. Suffixes, group of letters. Letters or a group of letters. Letter one letter I mean, or group of letters which added to the end of the word, able or IBLE. And it will make function. It can create nouns, pronoun, it can create adjectives, it can create adverbs, verbs, tenses. Prefix is a group of letters added to the beginning of a word, like sub. Apostrophe, of course, a prefix, letter or group of letters which comes before the word to give a new word, meaning. Apostrophe is a punctuation mark used for possession or for contraction. And then we have the ellipsis, which is a set of three dots used to show an omission or pause. And agent noun, a word that names someone or something that perform an action. Remember the spelling? Able and IBLE are suffixes. Able is for French, while IBLE is for Latin. ER and OR, they are making agent nouns. The recommendation is to use the dictionary to verify, to make sure to check the spelling rules all the time. Plenary, activity, fill in the blanks. Which one is correct? Dependable or dependable? It is dependable, ABLE. Invisible or invisible? Invisible with I. Match activity, which one is correct? Happy, happiness, I becomes Y becomes I. Act, it is actor. Spelling change and apostrophe practice. By doing this, we understood the difference between able and IBLE. We identified and explained an apostrophe. We identified and explained the purpose of ellipsis in sentences. We talked about some spelling rules, punctuation marks, and writing techniques. Next session, inshallah, we will talk about 4.11, finish your story. We will wrap up how to write a fiction story in general and science fiction story in specific. In 4.11, in next session, we will complete our science fiction story and we will get feedback and make improvement in writing. Your homework, 4.10 workbook. We have focused on IBLE or ABLE question, and then take 3 words and write 3 sentences about them, useful sentences. And then you have to add the OR or ER, and then take 4 or 3 words, agent nouns, and write 3 sentences again. After that, try to add the suffix to these root words, and then try to make this puzzle or crosswords activity. I'd like to thank all of you for having me today. Thank you so much for listening, and see you inshallah next session. This is Mr. Abdul Wahab Jamal signing out, and see you inshallah tomorrow.